Hello and welcome back to the most amazing channel on the internet. I'm your host Rebecca Felgate, and today we're talking about the top 10 scary North Korea cover-ups. Kim Jong Un is unpredictable to say the very least, and while he may have been attempting to play nice on the worldwide political stage, his country is still hiding a number of dark truths. Guys, let me know if you would ever visit North Korea in the comments section down below. It is possible they do have a whole tourism board. Also, while you're down there, why don't you like this video and share it with a friend. Also, if you guys want to connect with me on social media, the link to my Instagram is in the description box. Coming in at number 10, we have the truth about the Korean War. North Korea invaded South Korea with the blessing of China, and then China and Russia were drawn into the fray. The United States stepped in to help the South win. That is not what the North Koreans are taught, however. They're taught that the United States is a murderous country focused only on annihilating the hermit nation. They're also taught that the US started the war and enslaved the South for political gain in the Korean peninsula. They even have a whole museum of American war atrocities filled with a few key pieces of fake news. In schools, teachers tell kids that Americans are nasty wolves who want to come at them. While I'm down for the fact that things are kind of the product of perspective and America aren't totally blameless, that is pretty far from the truth. Or at least it was until President Trump claimed that he would totally destroy North Korea, but that wasn't without good amount of provocation. The scary thing is here is that Kim Jong Un is continuing to perpetuate a very skewed version of what happened in order to make his people hateful of the West. Coming in at number 9, we have Otto Warmbier. Otto Warmbier made the fatal decision to visit North Korea without having truly grasped how dangerous the country can be. The American university student visited Pyongyang while he was studying abroad in Hong Kong. In January 2016, he was arrested for attempting to steal a propaganda sign, and he was sentenced to 15 years of hard labor. This is what the North Korean government tell us anyway. We actually think it was a lot worse than that. Whether or not Warmbier actually stole the sign remains to be seen, but either way, in Western countries, what would seem like a harmless piece of jock fun gets you sent away for a time rivaling some life sentences in North Korea. Eventually, Warmbier was returned to the United States in June 2017, however, he was delivered in a coma. 6 days after returning back to US soil, he sadly passed away aged 22. American medics think that he suffered a neurological injury 1 month after his sentencing. North Korea said his coma was as a result of a bacterial infection. What happened to severely injure Warmbier? We don't know, but the North Koreans will not be telling us anytime soon. Coming in at number 8, we have the cover-up of Kim's ill health. Kim Jong Un is not a healthy man, but the nation would do anything to cover that up for fear of destabilization. It's suspected that he has a son and a daughter, according to Dennis Rodman anyway. Who else? Either way, if his son does exist, he's only thought to be around 9 years old, so nowhere near old enough to take over from his dad. Kim Jong Un is only 34, but he is not thought to be well at all. His family history, his ballooning weight, his odd behaviors over recent years has led a lot of people to speculate that he could be suffering from a breadth of illnesses. Now, these include diabetes, gout, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, possible heart disease, and psychological issues. Some even suspect that he has a sexually transmitted disease. Kim is a heavy drinker and smoker and is not thought to enjoy a healthy diet at all. When he's ill, he simply withdraws from public life rather than allowing people to see him in poor health. In such a fragile state as North Korea, the death of Kim Jong Un would cause a lot of instability in an already tense region. As American senior research fellow for Northeast Asia Bruce Kleiner put it, health conditions, including use of medicines or drugs, can impact a foreign leader's decision-making, and an expected death or deliberation of a leader can cause instability in a country with potential consequences for US interests. Coming in at number 7, we have the huge cover-up of Kim's brother's death. It appears that on February the 13th, 2017, Kim Jong-nam, half-brother of the North Korean dictator, was poisoned at Kuala Lumpur airport. Previously considered heir apparent, Jong-nam fell out of favor with the North Korean regime, with his dad accusing him of being a communist. Since 2003, he has been living in exile. On the day of his death, he was waiting for a flight when 2 women ran up to him and sprayed him with a liquid and then fled. He started feeling dizzy, he collapsed and died died on the way to hospital. The women were never caught. Now, according to South Korean government officials, North Korea had been planning on killing him for 5 years. The US determined that he was killed by the VX nerve agent in an assassination plotted and carried out by North Korea. But of course, they'll never admit to it or reference it inside the borders of the Democratic Republic of North Korea. Coming in at number 6, we have Kim's fake churches. Kim Jong Un wants to cover up the fact that he does not allow religious freedom in North Korea. His horrifying show churches have been exposed, wherein he hires actors to pretend to pray in order to try and make it look as if the DPRK has some semblance of human rights. UK national newspaper The Daily Express ran an article exposing the church as a rouse to cover up the treatment of Christians within his regime. In fact, North Korea is the biggest persecutor of Christians worldwide. Now, according to multiple sources, including deflectors, if you're Christian, you must practice in secret or face being imprisoned. North Koreans are to put their faith in just one man, the godlike leader of the hermit nation. However, when foreign visitors come to town, he parades them through show churches to pretend that actually there are places of worship there. But they're all filled with actors and stooges. Coming in at number 5, we have Ri Sol-ju versus Hyon Song Wol. In 2013, South Korea reported that members of the Unashu Orchestra had been arrested for pornography. One of the 12 performers arrested was Hyon Song Wol, Kim Jong Un's former girlfriend. It's thought that she was among 12 performers killed by firing squad. Now, their immediate families were made to watch and then sentenced to hard labor, as per result of the regime's guilty by association rule. Hyon was a North Korean sweetheart known for hits such as Love Pyongyang, We're Troops of the Party, and my favorite, Excellent Horse-Like Lady. Some say that Kim Jong-un's mysterious wife Ri Sol-ju was to blame. She reportedly was married to Kim Jong-un in 2010, just a couple of years before this reported mass execution. Some say she was very jealous. Weirdly, others say his wife is Hyon Song Wol, but rebranded so that people don't think that Kim Jong-un married a performer. Hyon Song Wol mysteriously reappeared earlier this year during the Winter Olympics, looking somewhat different. What's going on? Next up, we have a dark secret, literally. Coming in at number 4, we have the country's lack of electricity. North Korea claims to be a prosperous and powerful nation, but unfortunately for the DPRK, they suffer from a number of pesky blackouts. Why? Because it suffers from a shortage of perennial energy supplies. It's said that often students gather under street lamps to read their books. This is pretty sad for North Korea, as before the fall of the Soviet, the country was a literal powerhouse for energy production. These days, it's lost its access to technical expertise and subsidies, which means blackouts across the nation, especially in the capital, Pyongyang. A few tourists have experienced the power outages, but things get scary when officials realize they've taken pictures. They will forcibly make people remove the footage or images, as they do not want you to show the country in a bad light, or bad lack of light. On a similar note, they will also encourage you to take pictures of children using computers because they think it shows the country in a good way, even though most kids across the country don't have regular access to one. Coming in at number 3, we have the huge cover-up of deep poverty and starvation. As you know, it is possible to visit North Korea as a tourist. However, almost everything you see will be a show for your benefit. This is because you want to be able to tell the rest of the world that North Korea is a great place and that Pyongyang is a thriving city, but this simply isn't the truth. It seems a lot of buildings are just nicely maintained shells, but inside people are living in horrible, squalid conditions without warm water. It is only permitted to photograph what North Korean guides want you to photograph. Some deflectors have even said that the shops in the city centre are absolute fakes, that citizens can't actually buy the products or shop there at all. Indeed, photographer Eric Laforgue has been to North Korea 6 times. Now, he's confirmed that it is forbidden to photograph any kind of poverty, especially homelessness, even though it's rife. It is even illegal to picture normal people if they aren't dressed and considered to be well dressed. Basically, North Korea wants us to think that it is a high-flying country where its citizens can shop at international stores and eat at nice restaurants, but in actuality, it's reported to be very, very impoverished, with the majority of citizens malnourished and forced to eat dog food and sawdust. Coming into number 2, we have the cover-up of nuclear tunnels. By now, we know that North Korea has been working to develop nuclear weapons. They have conducted 6 tests, one in 2006, 2009, 2013, 2 in 2016, and 1 in 2017. The 2017 submarine effort was reported by the North Korean state media to have generated a 6.3 magnitude earthquake. The US government and other worldwide intelligence agencies had a good idea as to where North Korea was building its test sites, but the hermit nation was always trying to trick the West by building underground nuclear layers. We don't know how many of those still exist. More recently, it seems that North Korea is playing nice on the worldwide democratic stage. They promised to get rid of their nuclear test centers and invited journalists to watch the destruction of Punggye-ri, a nuclear test site in the northern part of the country. Interestingly, those invited to watch the blow-up of the tunnels were a small selection of hand-invited press officials, although none were from South Korea, and there were no inspectors present who could study the site to determine whether or not there was still activity. A similar spectacle was arranged in 2008 when the nation blew up a water cooler at its Yongbyon nuclear reactor center. Now that peace back then was short-lived and the nation once again fell out with the West. Some experts also believe that this latest destruction is just for show and is a cover-up of their true intentions. Finally, coming into number 1, this is very, very sad and deeply disturbing, especially considering what we know from history, but there is evidence to suggest that North Korea is covering up death camps. We know that North Korea has a number of labor camps. North Korea acknowledges that it has labor camps, but it keeps details of how brutal they are a deep secret, and we mainly know about them from satellite imagery and from defectors. While North Korea will acknowledge it sentences people to hard labor, it will never admit that it beats and often kills prisoners. It has death camps. A North Korean deflector, Lim Hye-jin, spoke about her time working at one of the camps. She told the Mail on Sunday news publication that 2 brothers were beheaded in front of a crowd who were forced to watch and throw stones at them. That really is just one amongst many atrocities she witnessed. She also said another woman was stripped naked and set on fire when a guard lost his temper. Obviously, these are deep, unsettling crimes against humanity. Hye-jin claimed that the corpses lay rotting on the ground and guards are manipulated to not feel any sympathy for prisoners. How worrying is that? It really echoes of something a lot darker in our history. So guys, that was the top 10 scary North Korea cover-ups. What did you think to this list? Which do you think was the scariest? And with all this in mind, would you ever want to go to North Korea? Do you think they're turning over a new leaf, or is it all for show? Let me know in the comments section down below. Okay, before I get out of here, I just want to read some comments from a recent video I did. We had the top 10 animals that have been around for millions of years. Ethan Moses wrote, "Hi, this is a weird and random question, but could you guys please do a top 10 ASMRist list? It'd be nice to see, I guess. Please, maybe, no, okay? I don't know, like we're kind of open to do any top 10, but how do you guys feel about ASMR? I find it like a little bit creepy and unsettling. I watched one about a Zen garden once, which is about my limit of low hush. People just kind of talk like this, and I don't know, I find it weird. Would you like an ASMR top 10 list? Let me know." Underfell Papyrus wrote, "Hi Rebecca, hello. How are you?" Emerald Lopez wrote, "Wolves and cats are my favorite animals." Good on you. I think they're both very solid choices. But what about otters? Today I like otters. Thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to leave a comment. Make sure you hit a thumbs up button. Share it with a friend. Once again, if you want to connect with me on social media, the link to my Instagram is in the description box. But until then, stay subscribed and I will see you most amazing top 10ers next time.